Good morning. This is John Presco coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon. I'll be discussing Shakespeare, the Elizabethan Protestant movement, exploration of America by Sir Francis Drake and Sir Walter Raleigh. In the background is my alleged great-great-grandfather's ship, USS Constitution. According to my grandfather, Sir Isaac Hall was one of his great grandfathers. I'm wearing the outfit that I wore when I stood before the last audience of the Habsburgs. A painting, very large painting, at the University of Oregon Schnitzer Gallery. It looks like I'm related to the Schwarzenberg family, who have a relationship or kinship with the Habsburgs, and one of the Schwarzenbergs helped save the Habsburg dynasty in its later years. I'm related to William and Peter Rosenberg of Kremlin Castle in Bohemia. The Schwarzenberg family were the royalty of Bohemia. They owned, I'm going to say our family owned over 100 castles that were seized by Hitler. And the Soviet Union helped defeat Hitler. They seized these castles and did not return them to the Schwarzenberg family. Karl Schwarzenberg does not want these. He was the president of Bohemia, or the Czech Republic. Okay, I'm back. You can see here my Santa Claus. I haven't unplugged it since I plugged it in December 22nd, and it's the 25th today, so it's been about a month. This is the Praskowitz family crest that I made after researching at the University of Oregon. Looked like Praskowitz means Ambrosius, but also it could be a son of Prague. I saw a spelling for Prague that looked familiar. I might get this registered. I might do another one after I do some more study. Now back here are the pages saving the electoral vote boxes from the raging insurrectionists launched against our democracy by the Republican Party, whose leader Donald Trump was voted out of office and refused to leave, said that he lost. In fact, he accused the Democrats of stealing the election, doing something heinous against our democracy, and therefore, the Republican senators and congressmen are not denying. A few did, but a lot of them are going along with it. The Democrats are traitors to our democracy, and this is an outrage because we are on the verge of going to war with Putin, who might be demonstrating for the Republican Trumpite evangelical party right now by threatening to uh, invade Ukraine. This could all be aimed at uh, the people in our democracy voting Trump back in, where he'll appear to be the peacemaker along with all the Republicans who made these false and outrageous accusations, which are treacherous, they're traitors. My kin, John Fremont, is a co-founder of the Republican Party, and he was the first presidential candidate. He was the pathfinder, the trailblazer. He came into Oregon, looked for a path, blazed the Oregon Trail. He wrote journals that my kin, uh, Jesse Benton Fremont, compiled. It's quite an amazing book, The History of the Exploration of the West and Oregon. Jesse Benton uh, wrote that. Um, Mike Pompeo was on television uh, giving accolades to Putin, uh, saying, what a great guy, statesman, he ought to be respected. This is treacherous. This is a traitor, folks. And the commentator said just what I'm saying, that this is aimed at telling Putin, hey, hang on for a couple of years, and the people that will like you and think you're a great guy, even a good Christian, will get back in power, and they will, take off the sanctions, and Russia and Putin will be honorable, nice guys, of the European uh, culture. Russia has flirted with being a part of Europe, of course, because Nicholas was the cousin of British royalty and the German royalty. So Pompeo and Newt Gingrich are saying the same thing. They're giving Putin these traitorous messages. Newt Gingrich says that the people that are investigating the January 6th insurrection should be arrested and jailed and locked up. That's what Newt Gingrich said the other day. Well, he should be arrested and locked up and tried for treason and put away. And so should Pompeo and anybody else who's giving aid to the enemy. Our allies, Canada, has put people in the Ukraine. Britain's about ready to do so, and so are we. We have about 8,000 troops on standby. Normally, they would have been put in the Ukraine, but the President of the United States is trying to diffuse this crisis because we're on the verge of war. And here's my Aries goddess back here, Aries, the god of war. The battle over the big lie that it wasn't a fair election and that the Democrats are not rescuing the electoral votes, they're stealing them. See, stealing these votes from Trump, and, and he should be in the White House still. So there's two stories. There's two ways of looking at my painting that I'm still working on. These are thieves or heroes, heroines, women, two women. The women are credited with, as our congressman, were fleeing from the traitorous mob that the ex-president sicked on them in front of the White House. He said, "Go get him, go, get my presidency back." And they ran down to the Capitol and engaged in a heinous physical battle with law enforcement, real people wearing badges. In fact, I got a badge here. It's sheriff. See, I got this because of the Deputy Dan uh, melodrama, begun by Rena Easton, who married uh, uh, Sir Ian Easton, Admiral, Commodore, and headed the British Defense Staff, Washington, who really got me into looking at the British history and the program that Winston Churchill and Roosevelt set up at the end of the war, where United States and Britain would be allies forever and ever in times of crisis, like we're in now. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a badge I will wear if I get elected governor of Oregon. Maybe I should ask for one. Once I swear an oath to the Bible, I'll say, "Would you do? Isn't there a badge? That says I'm the governor of Oregon. Why not?" Got these badges here. They're basically meaningless. They're decoration. Uh, I have declared myself the king of Oregon in California. You know, um, in what can only be described as pure prophecy, folks. I'm the author of The Royal Janitor, that I began 4 years ago with Victoria Bond and Miriam Starfish Chrysling, a half Russian spy for Bad. And I began this novel to create, propaganda against Putin. That's why I started this novel for about 4 years now, and it's probably the only propaganda book being written. Historic fiction. I don't know what you call it, fiction. Yeah, but I'm against a real enemy. And this was inspired by my muse here marrying Admiral Ian Easton. Okay, where are we? 13 minutes. What I want to establish in Oregon when I become governor is a think tank, our own international think tank. We're not going to leave anything up to Washington. Of course, we're taking, advice. We're trying to become patriots. We're not going to, who's ever in office, we're going to try to be cordial and go along with that program if it's sane, rational, and not against democracy. But because of our standing in the world with NATO and the way that the Republicans are breaking away from NATO, and they created this fake church state. They turned the Republican Party into their church. And they put Jesus in there. So, when they say, hey, if you're for Jesus, you got to become a Republican. Well, this is absolutely wrong. They go against all the policies and platform of the original Republican Party founded by Ken John Fremont. So I've registered as Republican. I'll be running as a Republican for governor of Oregon because I want to restore the platform of John Fremont, who came to Oregon and was sent by his his father-in-law, uh, Thomas Hardbenton, to secure the Oregon Territory from the British. He was the lawyer of John Astor, and John Astor had a fur company, but he uh, pretty much uh, ran the Oregon Territory. Uh, so, with this connection in relationship to Shakespeare, the Webb family, Sir Thomas Wilson, being a relative, distant relative, and uh, inquisitor of Sir Walter Raleigh, who had a colony in the Americas and had to be aware of Sir Francis Drake and Queen Elizabeth the First, who fought off the Spanish Armada of Catholic Habsburgs that were out to kill her because they said she was a heretic. Catholics were banned from coming from England to the Americas as colonists. So this think tank already has a name, the Goldberg think tank. But I want to create intellectual studies around the Oregon Shakespeare Society. I want to model our culture here in Oregon uh, on the British culture because they're our strongest allies against our real enemies, which unfortunately it looks like it's a lot of the Republican Party have become traitors. They betrayed the ideology of the Republican Party. They stuck in a fake rapture religion in there. They basically they're against democracy. To declare that the election was stolen by unfair casting of ballots is a lie, and it's aimed at destroying our democracy and the two-party system. They're the party that's become extremely dysfunctional, if not traitorous, led by the traitor Donald Trump, who should be arrested and thrown in jail. I think Putin uh, is against that. I think he's backing his buddy, Donald Trump. I think he was behind his election in the beginning, and he just wants him reelected no matter what, so he can get his needs met. When you look at the court of King Henry VIII and Elizabeth I, uh, because you're dealing with the leaders and the royals of that nation, yeah, there was a parliament uh, later years, uh, but the leaders, the royal people, they had to deal with the enemies of that nation. They had to deal with spies, they had to deal with traitors, they had to do with espionage, they had to do with keeping their sovereigns in power and to keep the enemy at bay. And so I want to replicate that uh, here in Oregon. I'm not saying replacing any of the existing democratic establishments, but to look at it as a cultural uh, exercise, a model, a cultural model versus the models that are not working at the moment. Uh, Studying the origins of Shakespeare's work is an intellectual exercise that I think will keep Oregonians focused. They will see gathering of bright minds uh, to look at all aspects of the Elizabethan Shakespearean times from where the Puritans came. And so that's what I want to form is the new Puritan society here in Oregon. And this would be a liberal Puritan society aimed at being open to all ideas, to have a forum for all ideas, and to exercise intelligent uh, information gathering. Facts are facts. And to live in the most powerful country in the world where a demented, traitorous uh, ex-president is allowed to say the outrageous things she said and be believed by millions of Americans that will be a part of this war in Ukraine. If it gets out of hand, the draft may be invoked. There was talk of nuclear weapons. So any society that addresses these issues in a sane, rational manner, I think should be welcome. And as the governor, I will establish the Oregon Shakespeare Society that would be an ongoing part of being governor of Oregon. We'll get private funding and hopefully state funding. I'm going to be looking to the Getty family is helping fund the Oregon Shakespeare Society. We have to have a culture to defend people. We cannot even think about going to war and having nuclear war unless we believe there's something worth dying and fighting for. And this is what I want to establish with the Oregon Shakespeare Society. We have a culture that is worth defending. Literature, poetry, plays, the theater, all come out of Shakespeare and his related families, which it looks like I am one. Okay, there'll be more. I'm going to be doing if we go to war, I will be dressing like this and having a war report, whatever it takes. It might be every day if it gets to be a very fierce battle, at least every 3 days. I will be giving a live streaming report in my opinions rather than go through typing all this out. It's going to that's time consuming. There's going to be a lot of information coming very fast from now on. All right. Have a good day. You be safe out there.